Leeds United fans might have had two little bits of positive news yesterday coming from very different directions on very different topics. One on Anton Stach and the other on a potential deal to be completed this weekend. That one is a lot more shrouded in mystery, so I'll cover that towards the end, just because a lot of people want to get to the more solid stuff first. However, before I do so, and sorry this annoyed someone in the comments yesterday, but I do need to plug the Leeds Creator Cup. Charity match between the Yorkshire Roses and the Peacocks on the 20th of July. £7 ticket for adults, £3 for kids. It's going to be a fantastic day. 20th of July, 1 p.m. kickoff, John Charles Centre for Sport. Be there. It'll be a fantastic time. And if not, you can always just watch the live stream. Anyway, let's get into the main topic of the video. Well, one of the main topics of the video. The first one being Anton Stach. So, defensive midfielder that we're all sort of interested in it. We all kind of like the idea of him because everyone's seen the numbers now and seen that he is a relentlessly good defensive midfielder. Tackling stats, ridiculous. Interceptions, ridiculous. Clearances, pretty damn good. Passing rate, fantastic. However, with all those things being very, very positive, you end up with his current club potentially not wanting to sell, which makes things a little bit complicated and can push the price up. And we've heard today roughly what the price that they would accept is. Specifically, Hoffenheim are likely to accept something along the lines of 20 million euros or 17 million pounds for the player. Now, looking at everything, this isn't the worst possible outcome. He's the sort of player where, compare his standard to a lot of other clubs, his price could have been absolutely through the roof. He could have been ridiculous, almost impossible to sign. They could have held on for dear life. But what seems to have happened behind the scenes over there is, whilst Hoffenheim are desperate to hold on to him, he's sort of looking for new challenges and having a look at his contract, which has 2 years left on it. Either they sell him this year for roughly what his value is. They can't really set a piss off, I'm not going to sell to you price of like 40 million quid. They can't really do that, because next season his value is going to drop severely because he'll only have 1 year left on his contract, and if you've only got 1 year left on your contract, you're within 6 months of being able to negotiate with absolutely anyone and everyone that you could potentially want to. It is interesting that the Stach situation has gone relatively quiet outside of the £17 million asking price thing, but that sort of fits in with the way that the 49ers do things. Goodmanson went very, very quiet until it was like, okay, cool, he's flying in now. Which is kind of interesting to note that it's like at the very start of a move, there'll be a little bit of a noise around a player. And at the very end of a move, it'll be like, okay, everything is frantic now. Fantastic. And I think it kind of suits what was said by Joe Donahue in the most recent Inside Elland Road podcast, in which he specifically said, if I find it, it's potentially a consequence of the transfer strategy, which is let's try and be ambitious and try and get players that might just be a little bit out of our league. In reality, Stach is probably Europa League, Champions League level as a player. If we're able to snag him, that's an absolutely fantastic move for us. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but I think, in my personal opinion, at the very least, pushing for that £17 million price tag would be a fantastic move. I don't know what you'd want in terms of wages, probably relatively high, but he'd slot in very nicely into the side. Perhaps fit the theory that a lot of people are going with recently of play with 2 6s and then either a sort of more free 8 role or just straight up number 10 to provide a little bit of a counter-attacking threat. Fits in the system. German, which Daniel Farke might like. I don't know. He tends to get on quite well with Bundesliga and former Bundesliga players. Ultimately, I think this would be a very, very good move to get done. And then we get to the slightly weird one. I say slightly weird. It's very weird. In which a fairly reliable, I don't want to say ITK, but a fairly reliable account on Twitter put out a post yesterday stating that there is going to be a move completed this weekend, maybe 2. Specifically, if I can find it, give me 1 second, because I want to make sure that I'm getting everything right here. Okay, cool. There we go. Specifically, he said that 1 player arrived today, specifically at Thorpe Arch, potentially to sign contracts or whatever he wants to do in this specific context. He might be hanging around. He might want to go to Trinity. I don't know. You tell me. But with 1 player coming in and specifically also implying that it's not going to be Longstaff because someone replied, "Don't reply to me if it's Longstaff." They replied with a full stop, therefore not Longstaff. That opens the door a little bit. In terms of the whole weird, dancey, jet washy thing that everyone tends to do, including me, it's fine. It's a bit weird because the only notable flight that I spotted that could have potentially come in was from Teesside, which makes things a little bit difficult. I might have another look through later and I might do a stream in the morning. I don't know. Tomorrow's work schedule is an absolute nightmare, so I'll see what I can do. But the entire thing is a bit odd. And this is one of those where a ITK or fairly knowledgeable account that's been very consistent in the past, let's be completely clear about that. He knows his stuff. Has come out and basically staked a reputation on the line. And if he turns out to be right, fair enough. But if he turns out to be wrong, I can feel Leeds United fans getting more and more and more frustrated, because that is what Leeds United fans do. We get ramped up with fear and worry and stress and all this. This could be Stach, it could be some older link like a Paixão or something weird, it could be something we've not even considered yet. But whatever this move is, it's something that I am sort of interested to see how it works out. Just a warning, by the way, for the next 2 days, I'm doing work stuff basically all day long, which means that if some news breaks, it's quite unlikely that I'll be able to hop on and do a stream. Might be able to do a video quickly in response, but we'll have to find out. I will do my best. Ultimately, when it comes to Stach, I think get the deal done. It would be fantastic to do. When it comes to Longstaff, I think get that one done as well, because we could really do with a little bit more depth. I don't mind us having 5 central midfielders, purely because it gives us space for rotation in the event of injury. There were a few times last season where we ended up with Gilavogi because we had 2 or 3 injuries in central midfield at the same time. By doing Stach and Longstaff, we're back up to 5 central midfielders, and then you've got that little bit of depth and you've got a little bit of safety as well. And you've got variety in the way that people play. Tanaka likes having the ball at his feet, sets a nice, calm, slow tempo, which is completely fine. Simultaneously, you've got Ampadu, who does the more defensive stuff really effectively. Same with Gruev. Same for Stach-ish. He's more of a sort of destructive presence in the midfield. And then Longstaff, who can do the more box-to-box stuff. Get both of those done, and we're looking very good. Get neither of them done, and we're going to have to find another target, because we're going to need to get some stuff done. Either way, hope you enjoyed. If you did, please pop a like on the stream. It's massively appreciated, as always. Subscribe as well if you haven't yet. Every subscriber is another 1p to Prostate Cancer UK, and it's one click of a button that's down here. It's really easy for you. You could also become a channel member. It's $2.99 a month, and you get videos and stuff early, and it's nice, and that's just my way of saying thank you. So I'll leave that there. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.